All I'm saying is, I'm a cook. I just fucking cook. Hi, I'm Ash Clarke, exec chef for the Lost Estate. I'm going to show you how to turn this 1870s old school baked Alaska into this 2024 baked Alaska. So, from this delightful looking cookbook that my late mum gave me, it's still got some of my little drawings on the front that she was super happy about when I did. And apparently I wrote, "Yes, boss," on the back. So somewhere in here. So yeah, in there is a recipe for baked Alaska. Baked Alaska, if you don't know, essentially is ice cream that's been baked. And that's the whole trickery behind it. The main ingredients for the majority of the dish is eggs, sugar, and that's it. Okay, so we're going to grab the mixer and we're going to kick off with the Genoise sponge. We're going to use the same sponge for both recipes. To create the base, before we add the flour, we're going to take 6 eggs. Stops the shells going in. Is that even switched on? So you're going to whisk this as fast as it can go till it's turned white, fluffy and doubled in volume. We're going to add a little bit of flour and that'll help bind it when we go to bake it. See how it starts to change colour a touch. Oh, I've made most of this by hand before. It's not a fun experience. It's good for your arms though. We've got the flour ready to wait. And what we're going to do is we're going to sieve this flour now to make sure we get no lumps in the finished product. So I'm just going to add a little bit of heat to this, kind of start the process of cooking the eggs. I'm not cooking them in the bowl, I'm just starting the process. If you look into the mixing bowl, come here my lovely. You see how nice and white and pale and fluffy that is. And that we want to keep as much of that air into the finished product as possible. Before we line the tray, I'm just going to wet this paper and it makes it much easier to get a full lining on the bottom of your tray. So we can turn it off for now. And there we go. As I said, nice. Just makes your life so much easier when you're lining your baking trays. I'm just going to add a little bit of the flour, fold that in. Slice down the middle of your bowl, fold that over, and then turn. So the process, again, for this, takes as long as it takes. You've got to keep going until all the flour is incorporated into the mix. But there's no shortcuts, you know? Okay, I think we're about there. So you can see, still quite fluffy. I'm gonna stick that straight in that oven there. I'm going to start that on like 15 minutes. So while that's in the oven, it's super important that you wait for that sponge to cook and cool down before you shape it and portion it into anything you want. The best test for if your sponge is ready is just to stick a little like cocktail stick or, you know, something small. And if none of the mix is on the end of that, then your cake's ready. Fucking gangster that. So, as you can see, it's risen beautifully. Pretty happy with that actually. I'm just going to leave that there to cool. So there we go. Got a nice sponge, cooled down, light as a feather. We're going to start off with the old school version. We've got some sugar, some nice caster sugar, plain flour, some eggs. We're going to make it by hand to keep it authentic and all that. 6 egg whites, and I seen a video the other day to prevent shells getting in when you separate your egg yolk. You drop your egg from a certain height, and that way you don't get any shells. We're going to want to what we call semi-whip or ribbon stage the egg whites. So what I'm trying to do is incorporate air, as much air as possible, into the egg whites. The reason we're doing this by hand is to show you how fucking horrific it was to make meringue by hand back in the day. So we place our sponge on the base, and the idea between the sponge is to protect the ice cream from the heat underneath. And what we're trying to do is just create these little ribbons and just give it edges. It's more that's going to catch. And we'll stick that in that oven. The modern version we're going to do, the meringue, is safer because we use pasteurized egg whites. The meringue itself, due to the couple of extra ingredients, it's literally 2 more ingredients from the previous meringue, gives you way more stability in the meringue. Transforms the dish. So this recipe is all about weights. We're not using individual amounts because we're using the pasteurized egg whites. We will put the recipes below because this one's a bit more scientific, if you like. And we're going to start the machine off. We don't want to over whip them. If you over whip them, it'll cause your meringue to split. That's what we call semi-whip. So then, or like some call it the ribbon stage. These are the corn flour, which again is going to give it stability, and a little bit of distilled vinegar. And then add the rest of the sugar. Don't just dump it in one go. Like, sprinkle it in gently. There's only one test. If this goes wrong, I'm going viral, innit? The ultimate test. Okay, so we're going to take this meringue, and as you can see, these now go into an oven, and we're going to start a cooking process because I want to develop a crust on the outside. They're going to a super low oven for an hour. Okay, so these have been in the oven for like an hour. They are still super delicate, but you can see you can kind of do what you want with them. This is the same sponge base as we used for the old school one. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to soak this with some pear liqueur. I'm going to add a little bit of pear puree, pear William puree. The puree is not sweetened. It's just the natural sugars in the pear. We've not added any more sugar. This dish does not need any more sugar. Put our ball of ice cream, and then we just literally, you can see inside there how soft and fluffy it is for the ice cream. We sit that over the top. And we're just going to take a little bit of apple blossom. Right, let's see what the difference is. So the old school version has nice crust. The ice creams start to drop. It's tasty, but far too sweet for my liking. And quite eggy. Yeah, obviously I'm going to say it's better, but it is better. Way lighter, not quite as sweet. I think the booze and the fruit puree just elevates it a little touch. Yeah, delicious.